With my desire and my drive, I definitely wasn't normal. Normal people can be happy with a regular life. I was different. I felt there was more to life than just plodding through an average existence. I'd always been impressed by stories of greatness and power. Caesar, Charlemagne, Napoleon were names I knew and remembered. I wanted to do something special. I wanted to be recognized as the best. Hey guys, today we're taking a look at Arnold, The Education of a Bodybuilder. It's a national bestseller. This is a hybrid biography as well as a bodybuilding guide, I guess I would call it. I read this book probably 5 years ago, so this is a reread. So I have read other books. I know I only have 2 on the shelf right now, in addition to this one, but I have read other books. I'm just rereading this. Now, this book is from the 70s, I want to say. Copyright 1977. So this isn't a full biography. He has recently come out with a new biography that I have not read, that I'm very interested in reading and will eventually get to, I'm sure, on this little series here. But I'm just going to go through the book. I love the book. Overall, I'll link my Goodreads below. I give it a 4-star rating. It's the lowest, but I'll get to that. It's of the other 2 books, this is my least favorite review I've done, and I'll get to that. It's still excellent though. This is a great motivational book, I find. The first half of it is all biographical information, and it focuses mainly, I would say 90% of it is all on his bodybuilding career. You know, and if you've been living under a rock and don't know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, do a quick Google search. This guy was at the top of his field at the time. He's a 7-time Mr. Olympia champion. He's ridiculous. I am a extremely amateur bodybuilder, so I look up to Arnold Schwarzenegger quite a bit. I'm a huge fan of his. If you've seen some of my other videos, I actually have a poster over by my desk of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hugely inspirational to me. I really love Arnold, and I look up to him quite a bit. But I've made some post-it notes here, and I'm still trying to catch up with the videos on these. So I read this probably about a month ago. So just keep everything I say. You know, it's not completely fresh in my mind, but I'm just gonna do a few talking points here. This quote I love. I was always honest about my weak points. This helped me grow. I think it's the key to success in everything. Be honest. Know where you're weak. Admit it. That's some good stuff right there. Know where you're weak and try and fix it, right? Try and get better. So motivational. There's just so many nuggets of information. How hard of a worker Arnold was. It's crazy. I love this too. In my own mind, I was Mr. Universe. I had this absolutely clear vision of myself on top of the days with the trophy. DAIS. Days. And it made no difference to me how much I had to struggle to get there. In his mind, he was already Mr. Olympia. You know, excuse me, Mr. Universe in this example. He was already there. It made no difference to me how much I had to struggle to get there. I'm getting there. He had it in his mind. His willpower is really, really fascinating to me. And this is where he was competing with other people's, and you know, he's competing against a lot of really, really great bodybuilders, of course. But there was one thing that he says he had more than anyone. I quote, "What I had more than anyone else was drive. I was hungrier than anybody. I knew there could be no one else in the world who wanted this title as much as me." That's why he won. He had a great physique and all that stuff too, but that's why he won. He was hungry. In my mind, there was only one possibility for me, and that was to go to the top, to be the best. Everything else was just a means to that end. Everything he did was for his goal, to be the best bodybuilder in the world, and he achieved that. That's cool. Never gave up. I like this too. I'm never that good when I practice anything. It's only when I'm really doing it when it has to count that I turn on. Isn't that interesting? When he practiced, I don't know if I fully agree with that, but that's fascinating to me. He was never really good at anything unless he turned a switch on mentally, and he was like, no, I'm the best at this. That's pretty cool. He talks a little bit about ego here too. I think that when you're almost to the top, but not quite there, it's easy to be carried away with what you imagine to be your own importance. Right? When you're almost there, sometimes you can get a little lazy sometimes too, I think. Because you're almost there, you've already made it, right? Interesting. Even Arnold kind of dealt with that. I just underlined here. He said, I'm great. I'm the greatest. He said that to himself. He had self-confidence through the roof. You know how good you are. You don't have to prove it anymore. That self-confidence is so important, right? So if it's important for you to be the best and not just the winner, and it was for me, then you go on. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't win Mr. Olympia once, and then he was done. He won. He was the best bodybuilder in the world at the time of winning that title, right? He won it 7 times, and he was better every single time because he wasn't competing against other people anymore. He was competing against himself. He wanted to beat Arnold Schwarzenegger, who won the first Mr. Olympia, and then the second, and then the third. He always wanted to get better. That's cool. Compete against yourself, not just against others, because once you beat everyone, then you plateau, right? Always be competing against yesterday's self. That's something I try to live in my own life. And then I'll end off with this quote. For me, life is continuously being hungry. The meaning of life is not simply to exist to survive, but to move ahead, to go up, to achieve, to conquer. I love that. Never give up. Work your butt off. Life is continuously being hungry. Be hungry and get after it. This book was fantastic. Now, so that's the first half of quotes that I went through. I'm not going to do really any quotes on the second half. The only reason I gave this a book a 4-star on my Goodreads is because the second half is good. And I will say, if you're not into bodybuilding, the second half of the book probably isn't going to be for you. The first half, I think everyone should read. It's fantastic. Anyone and everyone should read a great story. It has a lot of bodybuilding, but it's really about a guy from a little country who came over to the United States to become this huge phenomenon. And this is before he was like the governor of California, and this was just in the beginning of like his movie career. So this whole front half is just a small portion of his life. That's crazy to me. But anyways, the second half of the book is all, and I should say there's a bunch of pictures and stuff in here too, but the second half of the book is all different exercisings and nutrition. And not that it's bad, like there's a lot of really, really good information in here, but there is also a lot of bro science. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. And this is from the 70s. A lot of new research has come out since then. So the back half is a little outdated. Not that you can't get any good use out of it. A lot of what he says in here, most of it is really, really good. But it's not where I would go first if I'm looking into specific bodybuilder information, I guess. So there's also a book he has that I own. I haven't read it because it's like huge. It's the Bodybuilder Encyclopedia. Maybe I'll read that eventually, but it's an encyclopedia. I don't know if I really want to read an encyclopedia, but it's super fascinating. Talks about other bodybuilders too. And there is a lot of talk about other bodybuilders in this too, and talks about him looking up to his idol, Reg Park. It's just really, really cool. I highly, highly, highly recommend this book, especially if you're into bodybuilding or fitness or anything like that. Please check this out. It's fantastic. If not, maybe just read the first half, or maybe just skip this completely and go to that other book that I mentioned earlier, his autobiography. I'm assuming everything that was in here is also in that book. I don't know. I haven't read it, but I will eventually. So there's my little book review on Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Education of a Bodybuilder. Excellent book. It belongs on your shelf and my shelf as well. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the video, please give me a big old thumbs up. Helps me out a ton. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you never miss another video with me. Comment below if there's any way I can make this series better, as well as any book recommendations you have. I don't know of too many specific high quality fitness books like this one I consider. I don't know of many. I know there's a bunch of them, but I think most of them are garbage. So if you genuinely loved a book about fitness or nutrition or something, I'd be interested in it. Comment below and maybe I will check it out. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next one.